What's going on? Welcome back to Moosey Game here, and today I'm here to give you an account coaching slash account review series for Raven Emperor's account. For the second time, actually, because for those of you who don't remember, we actually took a look at his account, which I'll go over in a second, about 2 months ago. And his account was already stacked 2 months ago. And this is a very young account for those of you who are wondering where he's at. He's at Kingdom 3927. I believe he's a native there. And he's also the acting current king of 3927, as the previous king, who actually got me into Kingdom 3927 to create contents for that kingdom, has quit the game. And there's a different video that I'm probably going to post on the same day that I'm actually recording this right now, where I got zeroed on that account that the king has actually given me access to so that I can create contents there. But that's a separate topic. So let's focus on Raven Emperor. So Raven Emperor, currently the king of 3927, has really previously shared me his account, and I was looking at this account and I called it an impossible account, as he had VIP 17 86 days in while also getting 959 gold heads, while also having, I think, Charles Martel expertise. It was insane how stacked this account was. So yeah, this account was already really, really good 2 months ago. But now he went through 2 months of development, account development, and also at the same time, they have actually won the KVK 1. Just to give you a little bit of background, he has actually won the KVK 1 for 3927 as well as the allies, because he actually was the guy who was leading the war. He was acting king while M007 was kind of missing, and he has actually took over the kingship, and he has led us to the victory here at 3927. So there's a lot of things that happened within the last 2 months. We were thinking about maybe doing an account update video last month, but then again, the KVK was still going on until like 2 weeks ago. And yeah, finally we took the time, and as he entered KVK 2, we actually, as he entered pre KVK 2, we have actually decided that it's time for us to kind of do another account coaching video, account review video, so that we can kind of showcase how much he has developed. Now, looking at his governor profile, he has gained about 550-ish, 550 million KP, which is actually pretty impressive, along with about 27 million power. And that is actually after taking about 2 million deaths for his account, which is actually crazy. Now, with that said, he has now reached VIP 18. VIP 18 as a 153 days old account. That is actually insane, because just to give you a little bit of perspective, guys, just to give you a little bit of perspective, my main account, which was 4 years old almost at this point, my main account is VIP 18, guys. My main account is VIP 18. My main account is very close to VIP 19, but it is still VIP 18. And this guy, who is barely not even half a year, 5 months old for this account, is in the same VIP level as my main account, which is kind of wild. And also, hitting VIP 18 gives you a couple amazing perks, which will not only give you extra march speed, but also give you that extra unit capacity, so that you can get the maximum unit capacity that is allowed within the game, which is really, really good. A lot of people actually get to VIP 18 for that extra unit capacity for the field performance. And that right there is a huge perk. And along with all the other things, march speed is great. Unique action point limit is great, and the healing cost reduction is great. But those two are the main things that you're actually going after when you're hitting VIP 18. And as you guys can see, in my last video, he has actually hit VIP 17, and he was actually about 2 million VIP points behind from where he's at. So yeah, he did actually put in a lot of efforts to hitting VIP 18. And on top of that, it looks like he has already gained like 800 extra VIP points ever since he hit VIP 18. So I think he's going after that VIP 19, which is really, really impressive. With that said, Also, at the same time, one thing that I do want to take a look at battle statistics again, 2 million. That's very impressive, along with having 83 million power as he's entering pre KVK2 is really really good. And also at the same time, look at that. He has actually gained about 140, 150 gold heads within the last 2 months, which is crazy because when I actually took a look at his account last time, for one, he didn't have YSG expertise. He didn't even have YSG available for him at that time. So he had to put in a lot of gold heads, most likely, into expertise in YSG, right? So even after that, he actually did not reduce the number of gold heads. He actually went up 140, which is kind of insane in my opinion. And yeah, 1098 gold heads is more than enough for you to get at least one commander expertise, one extra commander expertise for him to do really, really well in KVK 2. So very, very good. Crazy, in my opinion, that you went through KVK 1 and you fought really, really well while also increasing your gold head count for the KVK 1, guys. This is very impressive, in my opinion. Now, with that said, he also has a lot of speed ups, which is going to be important, which is going to come in very, very important as we kind of go through this video, because he actually wants that Zenith of power skin. But he has a lot of speed ups, 126 days of building, 24 days of research, 54 hours, 54 days of training, and then 1200 days of universal speed ups, as well as 42 days of healing speed ups. So very good. I would say his speed up situation is really really good. Now, in terms of resources, he has about 17 billion to like 12 billion, depending on which resource that you're talking about. But he has stacked amount of resources. I don't think resources would ever be a problem for him. So that's basically that. And troop details. I actually specifically requested him to share with me what his troop count is because, for one, knowing how many T4 troops that you have available will be crucial in how much speed ups that you need to spend for you to hit the next Zenith of power event. Like if you're trying to go after those threshold of 40 million, 60 million power. And looking at it, couple things that you can notice. There's a lot of T5 troops. He can run at least one archer march. I think if you use 50% expansion on KVK1 and KVK2, or KVK3 even, the maximum amount of unit capacity is what, like 330,000? So yeah, this is more than enough, right? 1 million caps, so he can run 2 caps if he needs to. And then 1.3 million infantry, which is, I think, enough for 2 to 3 infantry marches. So yeah, he has more than enough. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So yeah, that's really, really good. And looking at that, he has shared with me his commander list that he has expertise of. He has double C expertise, which is good. Double C can be actually used as a swap candidate, so the fact that he has it is really, really good. He has Minamoto, which is not swap candidate, but still a good commander to have. Charles Martel, always good commander. Actually, I don't recommend a lot of people that you use Charles Martel unless you don't have any other commander for you to swap, because sometimes Charles Martel are used. Charles Martel is used for the rallying and garrisoning scenarios. So Charles Martel expertise is really, really good. Pierce is another really good candidate for swap as you exit KVK 2. So the fact that he has some expertise is really good. YSG expertise, once again, the fact that he has YSG expertise while having gold head count increase is insane. And he has a lot of unopened armament choice chests for epic as well as legendary, as well as a lot of transmutation stones and crystals, which is good. Now, looking at his first infantry march, let's look at his marches. Looking at his first infantry march, he has Charles Martel. And look at that, he has full legendary gear, except for accessories, which is kind of a surprise. Because I thought he would at least have a Silent Trial on here, but T-Line's Amulet is fine. This is more than enough for you to have a good KVK1 at the end of the day. He has the gloves credit, but everything else not credit. He has iconic on anything that is Everything except for the helmet as well as Hoku, which I'm assuming that he crafted those two last. But overall, pretty good setup, I would say. He has a pretty work in progress wedge formation. He has brutal and haste on his wedge formation. He has about like 11% stats as well as 0.5% all damage, but it's work in progress. He just entered KVK2. So I'm not sure if I don't think I should just make any judgment on this yet because he just had armaments unlocked, right? His information also, he's getting worked on. It looks like he is opening some of them, ward and rebuff. And he has 1.7% all damage. I'm hoping that is coming from one armament, so that's really, really good. But overall, still work in progress in terms of armament. Just look at the equipment at the end of the day because he just unlocked KVK2 preseason so that he actually just started having access to armaments, it looks like. Looking at wedge formation for another cavalry with full legendary gear, guys. Full legendary gear. That is crazy that he has 2 legendary sets in KVK2 as he entered KVK2. So he had 2 legendary full setup for KVK1 as well, which is kind of crazy. He has the best in-slot equipments except for the KVK weapon and helmet, but that's not going to come into he's not going to have access to those until he enters Season of Conquest, so that's fine. He has Navarre's Control Credit, which is really, really good. And he has pretty decent stats, Armored and Pacifier. Armored is good. Pacifier, I think, is just for barb killing, so I guess it's good for your bar fort, but same situation as infantry armaments. He's just getting those armaments, so he just has whatever the stats that you can get on Minamoto on there, which is really good. Tutmos, he has a 4-piece Dragon Breath set, which is actually really, really good. He can technically look into crafting 2 KVK pieces, which is the KVK helmet as well as KVK weapon, so that he can have 4 pieces of Dragon Breath set as well as 2 KVK set if he wants to rally for Archer. If not, he can just go ahead and craft the Dragon Breath helmet as well as weapon, which is totally fine because he is an infantry main, as far as what I could tell, and as far as what we talked about. So yeah, I will say for now, crafting a Dragon Breath set, the full Dragon Breath set is most likely the right play here. But yeah, looks pretty darn good. Has a shoe critted. Hasn't really gotten too lucky with the crits, it looks like. So that's unfortunate, but in terms of the amount of efforts that went into those, all very, very impressive, I would say. His wedge formation is actually not bad at all. Has fit and vitality for the extra 6% health for archers, which is actually very, very impressive, along with Surted, which actually gives you, I think, all damage as well. So yeah, I would say for someone who just got access to armaments, I think like less than a week ago, this is very, very impressive, I would say. And with that said, he said account update. So this is something that he sent me as I asked him for more information, more background on what's going on with the account, as well as what he actually has in mind. He said account update. We won KVK1 and I did pretty well. 550 million KP and 2.1 million deaths. Just keep in mind that there wasn't KVK1 is very tough to get a lot of KP unless you're going 3v1 yourself, right? So the fact that 3927 was on the 3 side and then he gained 550 million KP is, I think, really, really impressive. And he is nearing completing his Archer set, which was the 3rd March that we just looked at. And he'll be starting on 4th March before KVK2 starts, which is going to be 2nd Infantry set, which is good. He's focusing more on the field marches, having 4 marches set up, which I think is up to 4 march is really, really good, right? So that would actually help him gain more KP in KVK2. As you guys may or may not know, KVK2 is much more massive than KVK1. There's a lot more fighting going on, as you have 9, 8 kingdoms that are going into KVK2, right? So yeah, having 4 marches set up is going to be really, really critical when it comes to getting KP, right? My armors are bad just because they just opened this. Yeah, there you go. Less than a week old. Yeah, armors are still bad. But I'll focus on them, which is good. Only opening wedge delta pincer, which is amazing, which is what I would suggest him to do, which I do suggest him to do later. And only using wedge on almost every march for KVK2 because of the skill damage, besides pure CJ. Plan to expertise CJ, which is what I would recommend. Maybe Saladin, which I don't recommend, depending on his wheels to go and my golden account. I'll go over why I don't recommend Saladin. But yeah, he's considering it, which is good because a lot of cavalry mains are actually considering Saladin expertise as well in KVK2. But yeah, I don't recommend going Saladin in your current situation. I'll explain why that's the case. But may save up to justly to quickly grab Qin Shi Huang by Chu Lu Che, Sun Tzu Prime, Achilles Arthur. Good, good. He has that in the mind, which I'll go over later part of the screenshot, later part of this video. But yeah, he has that in mind. That is amazing. So he's planning for 4 marches to 5 marches setup. Pure CJ, Mina Metme, Tutmos YSG. Tutmos is 5511. Do you expertise? No. You do not expertise Tutmos. I'll go over that in a later part of the video. And then Charles Mattel plus Ethelflaed or Sun Tzu. Either is fine, to be honest with you. I would say Sun Tzu is a little better play here because the amount of damage that they do as a synergy is actually really, really big, personally speaking. But Ethelflaed does apply those massive AoE debuff, so it's really preference thing, but I'll personally prefer Sun Tzu. And depends if I get the 5th armor set he is thinking about expanding to 5th March. And I did also ask, are you gonna try for that Zenith? And then he said, yeah, man, I think so. I'll show speed. That's where I got the speeds and resources and stuff earlier. So yes, he is thinking about Zenith. So I will be providing my suggestions on which Zenith that he should be aiming for and why. And also kind of like the calculation behind like whether or not he can actually win either of them. So that's pretty good. And then my suggestion on the strategy for that as well. But yeah, that's pretty good. He's considering having Zenith. Zenith is always a dream for a rally garrison lead at the end of the day, so having Zenith is fine. And considering Zenith is fine. And he has 1 million gem and plenty of flux to keep recharging. Going to focus on getting my training and healing speed up, which is good. Call of the Asians. So he's going to buy a lot of Call of Asians, which is good. And armaments. And by 4th March. He's planning on spending a lot more on this game, it looks like. I'm hoping in this much more competitive KVK, I can add about 1 to 1.5 billion KP, depending on the map, which is good. That is a good plan. If you can add 1 billion to 1.5 billion as you enter KVK3, that is going to be golden. This account is going to be, everyone's going to want this account, obviously. He's the king of 3927 at the moment, so most likely he's not going to migrate, but everyone will actually be very, very considering him highly if he can get that KP. So that's good. And I did ask for any researchers left, and then he did share with me about 1.6 million power uplift was actually possible with whatever researchers that he had left, just for reference, so that you guys all know what we're walking into when we're talking about Zenith and what is possible on the research side. And in terms of the equipment blueprint, he has a lot of blueprints that is ready. You guys can see that he has the full Eternal Empire set ready to go, which is good. And yeah, this is really, really good because a lot of the times you don't usually get the Eternal Empire, the chest piece, as well as the pants because of the fact that you can get Hope Cloak and Eternal Knight from that. But nowadays, those might actually become handy because having those would actually help you out as attack became more valuable in the game. So initial assessment for the account, as you guys can see, there's a lot of pros. For one, great equipment for all 3 marches. Obviously, he's still working on his archer setup, but so far, almost flawless, guys. So far, almost flawless. It has a lot of different stuff. Assuming the 4th march is being prepared, you're already really good, right? You're in a really good spot for equipment. That's what I'm trying to say, right? And then great speed ups and resources, 3.4 years of speed ups so far. is actually really, really good. And the fact that he has 1 million plus gems means that this can be converted to 4.56 years of speedups if you buy out the 600 gems per day in the VIP shop. So he has more than enough for him to actually, convert the gems into total of 8 years of speedups at the end of the day, which I think is really, really good. The only problem with that is that you don't really have that much time to convert the gems into speedups, so that you might end up, buying stuff that is not really as efficient as buying 600 gems, spending 600 gems to get one full day of training or universal speedups. That's the only worry that I have. But so far, looking very good. And has very good commander situation with the golden account. He has 1,000 plus gold tests after expertising CCCM, Purist, and why she is actually really, really broken. Again, I called this account impossible before. I think his efficiency right now is almost impossible still. So very impressive stuff, I would say. And he's a strong garrison lead for KVK1. And he has very easier access to my Discovery event. So if he wants any commander that he wants, obviously he would have very good access to those. So that will be helpful. Although KVK2 doesn't really have amazing commanders that you can actually use for garrison. You still use Charles Mattel with YSG or Charles Mattel with Pierce, or no, not Charles Mattel, the Pierce and CJ for rallying garrison. So you don't really need Mighty's Governor event for KVK1, KVK2, but still it's good to have. And high True Reserve for KVK T5 and T4 on top of great KP. Very, very good stuff. Overall, very stacked account, in my opinion. Now, there are some cons. One of them is equipment spread out for having 4 marches on the field. Could be slightly less competitive than other rallying garrisons who focus on 1 march only for KVK2. This is very, I would say, unlikely that someone would have like full credit like equipment, and like they did not care about the second, third, fourth marches ever, like equipments. Like they will have just epic gears on those. But that is possible. So there is a world where he might become less competitive than other rally garrison leagues who actually have those stuff. So that could be a possibility. And another thing is that speed ups are really, really good. You have like 3.1, like 4 years of speed ups, but you may not have time to actually convert gems into speed ups to have the guaranteed 40 million push. Just for reference, you need about 7.2 million at 2 years of speed ups with the current T4 amount that you actually have. And that is actually required for you to push for 40 million power to get the guaranteed 20% infantry Zenith power city skin that just got announced. That's going to happen in March, right? So, yeah, you don't. And every week you can get what, like 40 days of speed ups converted from gems to like speed ups, right? And that gap between now and then, maybe March when the Zenith Power event does happen, you may not have enough days, enough weeks for you to actually convert those into speed ups efficiently. It's my only worry here. For you to push that 20% infantry defense skin that is happening in March. But throughout this video, as I mentioned before, I'll be going over both short-term and long-term suggestions. And short-term suggestion is going to be a Zenith Power Skins plan. We'll be making suggestions based on the timing as well as what is the most beneficial for the account. And then also he did ask whether or not he should be making the 5th march or not for the account. I'll be providing my suggestions based on this, and what kind of commanders that he should be focusing on is what I'm actually going to go over in this video. Now, long-term plan. He will also have commander swap event suggestions, right? He did list out a lot of different commanders that he's looking to get as he goes into commander swap in KVK3. I just went through commander swap, so I'll go ahead and provide my best suggestions based on what my experience were like and what he should be doing in KVK2 between now and the time that he entered KVK3 and then enter the Commander Swap event, for him to basically have like the flawless account progression that he has actually maintained until then, in my opinion. So that's what I'm gonna do throughout this video. Now, Zenith Power Event. This is probably the most sought after event that is actually targeted by a lot of different whales, right? And as you guys may or may not know, we have Zenith Power Event that's happening just around the corner. They just announced, Rise of Kingdoms official Facebook page just announced that there's going to be a 20% infantry defense skin that's going to be happening in March of 2026. And just looking at the trend, the fact that a year ago, March of 2025, we had 20% infantry attack, and then we have 20% archer attack within the next 3 months in June of 2025. And then in September, they released the troop attack 16% skin in the September Zenith Power event, and then they went to the cavalry defense of 20% in December. And the fact that we're going into infantry defense in the March of 2025, most likely here is kind of like a chronology of Zenith Power event city skins that are going to happen throughout the next year or two, right? So this time is 20% defense. And then the next one is going to be June, which is going to showcase the archer defense 20%. And then in September of this year, most likely we're going to have 16% all troop defense. And then most likely December of 2026, which is actually the one Zenith skin that I'm actually preparing for myself, we're going to have 20% cavalry health skin coming into the game, which is kind of wild. This is going to be the first 20% city skin that we're going to have in the game. And then a year from now, what I'm personally expecting based on the trend line here, we're going to expect 20% infantry health skin that's going to come in the March of 2027, guys. 20% health. And then June, 20% health for archers. So we have some crazy Zenith Power skins that are coming up for the next year or so, right? And what I do suggest him to do, go after at the end of the day, are 2 Zenith Power skins as an infantry rallying garrison lead. And that is 1, the infantry defense skin that is coming up just around the corner in the March of 2026, right? And then also 20% infantry health skin that is happening in the March of 2027, a year from today. Now, just to give you a little bit of perspective on how Zenith Power city skins compare from one another, I've actually made a separate video about this. But then again, if you standardize the each city skins buff into all damage buff, all damage uplift that it provides for everyone, you can see that currently the best skin that provides the most amount of all damage comparison for infantry is actually the 15% infantry city skin for 6.9% all damage expected uplift, right? That is about 4.6% higher than the 5% skin that everyone can get from events, right? There's almost a 5% difference in all damage, guys. That is almost a 5% difference in all damage, which is kind of wild. But the next city skin that we're going to get is actually slightly worse than the 15% health skin that we have. It's actually going to only uplift about 6.5%, 6.6%, more or less, of all damage expectation. That makes it the 3rd best skin that is available for infantry troop type. Given that attack has become more valuable for infantry, as infantry gets a lot of defense from most of its parts from the equipment. Now, a year from now, though, when we get our hands on that 20% health city skin, guys, the power level, all damage uplift expectation jumps tremendously, guys. Up to all the way to 9.24%, 9.25% basically. which is actually absolutely insane. So this is why I have this on there, because I just wanted to get you the better understanding that you're most likely going to move from 2.3% to 6.5% if you get yourself 20% defense skin. Whereas if you're aiming for the 20% health skin in a year, then it's going to give you like what? Like 6.9%, almost 7% extra all damage buff. So keep this in mind when you're looking at the Zenith Power event, as well as kind of comparing it to, okay, is this worth it? Is this worth all the money, all the speed ups that I'm spending for those skin? Is basically what I'm trying to get at. And looking at the Zenith Power event, there's two possibilities. Most of the time, I don't recommend that you get two Zenith Power skins because they would. It's just not efficient, right? Because you need to push so much power. You need to spend so much speed ups. If you need to push for both of the Zenith Power event, I don't think it's really popular. It's a good idea. I myself has actually gained 50% cavalry city skin, health city skin, and I've actually stuck to it for a while. But yeah, the fact that you have two options out there, I would suggest that you get go after one of those only. And the one thing is actually the first option is that you go after the 20% Zenith skin, and aim for the low popularity of that skin, because as you guys can see, the latest Zenith Power skin for infantry for 20% defense is actually not even the best city skin that there is going to be when it comes to the overall all damage level that it's going to uplift. It's actually not even the second best city skin that's going to be out there. It's going to be worse than 20% attack skin. And it's going to be the third best skin, the best Zenith Power skin that is going to be out there available for you. So this is not going to be the most popular Zenith Power city skin event that's going to be out there. That's just my personal opinion. So even though 3927 is in the Younger Kingdom cluster, and then there is a very strong contender within his kingdom group, I'm assuming that the popularity, the rank 10 cut for the power event is not going to be 40 million power. I'm assuming that it's going to be about somewhere around 20 to 30 million power. And so that it is possible for you to push out just from buying a couple more Call of the Ancient bundles and whatnot. That's just my suspicion. And again, given that the skin is only third best skin, it is possible for you to actually get this, save up speed ups, and go after the 20. But otherwise, unless it gets really unpopular for your March 20% defense Zenith skin, I would say you have to save up the speed ups and go after the 20% infantry health skin. That's my personal suggestion. Because look at the all damage jump that you get from getting the 20% health skin. This skin is going to be the best Zenith Power City skin that you're going to be able to get in the game for a very long time until they have another 25% infantry health skin. This is going to be the best city skin that you're going to be able to find in the game. Guaranteed almost. So I would say go after that skin in a year. That's just my opinion. That's just my personal suggestion. Unless it is very easy for you to get the 20% defense skin. In such case, I would say go ahead and save up your speed ups for another year and then go after that 20% infantry health skin as well. Because if you only push 20 million power, you'll be able to do another one in a year. That's my personal suggestion. And again, it's going to happen in the March of 2027. So yeah, that's basically what I'm suggesting. And just for your reference, the speed ups that you need for 40 million guaranteed Zenith Power City Skin push, because 20% infantry City Skin as well as the 20% defense Zenith Power City Skin will both be guaranteed as long as you can push 40 million power. But if you want to push 40 million power with 100% training speed bonus, which means usually if you have a title of Duke and Rune, you can get up to 100% training speed. You can I think get up to like 105% if you have like Germany on or whatever. But yeah, that's I just from getting the basic stuff, right? Because you can't have the kingdom buff and everything just on at all times, right? T5 only. If you just straight up train T5, it will take you 7.6 years of speed ups. That is 2,777 days, which is kind of insane. But if you had trained 3 million T4s in the reserve, it would go down to 6 years. If you have 5 million, it will go down to 5 years. So if you're going after that 20% infantry health skin, after training enough troops where you to actually run 2 marches of each troop type, I would say just start training T4s from there onward. That's my suggestion for you. And for your current situation, if you need to push 40 million power with 900,000 T4s in the reserve, it will take 7.2 years because you need to train still 3.5 million T5 troops. So keep that in mind when you're preparing for Zenith Power Skin, right? You still only have what? How many years? 3.4 years of speed ups. You need to either convert your gems as fast as possible to your speed ups or buy more bundles so that you can actually get those. Wait, I keep pressing the wrong button, am I not? There you go. So yeah, that's Zenith Power event. Again, my suggestion is that you go after that 20% Zenith health skin, Zenith Power skin. But as a high spender, as a rallying garrison lead, I understand that sometimes you need to push 20% defense skin because that's the best that you can get. That's the best one that you can get your hands on, right? So in such case, just go after the low popularity. If you need to push 40 million power for that, I would say it's gonna be tough for you to get it within given the fact that you still need time for you to convert the gems into speed ups without just basically giving up on efficiency 100%. So that's my suggestion. Now, equipment order. Current equipment is fine, but few optimizations. During this preseason of Conquest, which I'll color code in the next couple of slides in red, I'll say you have to complete the archer set as you kind of are already planning on. Craft weapon and helmet, and get the full dragon breast set. That's what I would suggest. And then as you craft the infantry number 2 set, I would say just do it without the weapon and the helmet, because as you get into Season of Conquest, you'll be able to get your hands on the KVK weapon and the helmet. And then your current best set, which is going to have the Eternal Empire weapon and the helmet, will have to find a home. So you don't need to craft another Eternal Empire weapon and helmet. Rather, just keep those until you get your KVK weapon and helmet, and then just replace those with KVK weapon and helmet so that those can actually be put on your second infantry set. That's how I suggest that you actually run those. And then during Season of Conquest, which is going to be color coded in blue, you should just focus on getting Ring and Horn. Ring and Horn, Ring and Horn, Ring and Horn. These will give you the most amount of DPS boost. And the Horn, just for reference, if you're ever split on which one you should get first, Horn usually gives you more DPS buff than the Ring. Because if it can get your skill cycle reduced by 1 second, oh my god, the amount of damage DPS buff that you're going to get for that march is like 10-15%. It is actually crazy. So, Horn, just remember, Horn is more important than the Ring. If you're crafting one for your crafting your very first KVK accessory, just get the Horn first, and then the Ring, then get the Horn, get the Ring, get the Horn, and get the Ring. And then if you feel like you can give a drum to one of the marches, I would just say give it to anyone that's using Liu Che or combo march. So that's what I would suggest. You can have one drum most likely, and Liu Che is good because Liu Che actually has built-in combo within his expertise. Combo commander is good because it can actually trigger combo attacks a lot better, right? And then step 2, craft Infa KVK set to complete the KVK set using the Rally Gear system. I already talked about it. I'm not going to go over it right here. I'm going to go over it in the later slides when I do look at your equipment. This is the current setup that you have. We already looked at it together. You have the full Eternal Empire set blueprint, so which is good. and you're missing the Dragon Breath weapon and the helmet, which is good. Pierce, you're still working on them, but you have not touched on it because you wanted to finish the archer set first. Now, in KVK 2, and maybe KVK 3 too, I'll say you should focus on getting the Dragon Breath weapon and the helmet, and then complete your archer set. And then the next homework that you have is to complete the Pierce set, which is the one that you have right here. And I'll say just craft the full Dragon Breath set that you already have. Use the Hope Cloak and the Eternal Knight to actually crit these, and then iconic it up. Whereas you actually craft these because, at the end of the day, you only have you only can get so many blueprint fragments or blueprints for everything. It's always good to split those as much as possible. Nowadays, also, attack is more valuable than defense in infantry. So before, attack was garbage for infantry, but nowadays it's actually really, really good. So having these crafted for that extra 10% march speed is going to be really good. Now, as you enter Season of Conquest, this is going to be a little bit more complicated. But as you craft the KVK weapon and helmet, as I said before. No, first of all, the first things first. You have to craft ring and horn for everyone. That's going to be your first priority again. Again, if you want to craft a drum, that's fine. Just have one as optional for Delta Luce. That's fine. For 4 marches, I think having one drum's fine. If you have 5 marches, having one is still optimal, I think. If you have 7 marches, having 2 drums is still viable, but unless you get to like 7 marches, I think you should just keep one drum wherever you can, right? And then when you craft the KVK weapon and helmet, again, move your Eternal Empire weapon and the helmet into your 4 sets so that you can actually complete the best in slot rally and garrison setup complete for the KVK 1, for your infantry number 1, while also crafting a very good, very usable set for your infantry number 2. Now, for your reference, this set right here, 2 pieces of KVK set, Hope Cloak, Eternal Knight, and 2 pieces of Eternal Empire weapon and the gloves and the boots, as well as Ring and Horn, is the current best setup for infantry rally garrison. Apparently, it used to be the case that the 2 pieces of leadership pants and boots that give you health was better, but ever since they actually rolled out the new KVK technology, health has become less valuable. Infantry attack and defense has relatively become more valuable, so that having Hope Cloak and Eternal Knight Iconic 5 credit apparently gives you enough stats for you to actually, ignore the leadership pants and boots. That's just what I heard. Two moons, once again, do what I told you to do in the last slide, and then basically that's what I would suggest. That how you complete the 4 infantry setup, 4 march setup, in Season of Conquest. Now, Commander Comps. So Goldheads uses from here onward. I'll say Expertise CJ is fine as planned because you want to make sure that you can actually still perform in the KVK 2 at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, you did say that you want to gain 1 billion, 1.5 billion KP. I think that is only possible if you can get your best infantry set to the Pierce CJ, the best march that you can actually make in KVK 1 for infantry. So get CJ, that's fine. Make sure you spin 100 spins for your CJ so that you don't have to waste as much gold heads. But do that. That is awesome plan. And save the rest, I would say. Don't make your 5th march. To save the rest, you need at least 700 gold heads for you to get Sun Tzu Prime or Bai Chu in KVK 3. As you enter KVK 3, you'll have the Gathering of Hero event that's going to be available for you. If you can get to Sun Tzu Prime and unlock Sun Tzu Prime, I'll say swap your Pierce with Sun Tzu Prime so you can actually have Sun Tzu Prime expertise. And then Bai Chu will still need gold tests for you to expertise him, right? So having enough gold tests is never going to be the case. You will always be gold test hungry, especially for people like you who are rallying garrisonly, right? If you're rallying garrisonly, you will need to also consider getting Gorgo. You'll also need to consider getting Tokugawa or Hector, right? Those are 1,400 extra gold tests that you'll need that anyone else doesn't really need, right? So yeah, at the end of the day, I'll say just you still need a lot of gold heads. I know you've been doing an awesome job of saving up so many gold heads, but no amount of gold heads is always enough when you're first starting off the game. So make sure you save the rest of the gold heads. Don't invest in Tutmos. 5511 Tutmos is fine. Don't invest in what's this called? Saladin. You're fine. If you're getting his gold heads for free, that's fine. But anything beyond that, I would say just go ahead and save your gold head, save your gold head, save your gold head. That's what I'm suggesting. Making fifth March plan. Given that you already have 2 swap candidates, I do not recommend you making one for Season of Conquest. There you go. As gold heads used from now will be wasted, you'll need them later. I told you again, save your gold head. Recommended swap. Double C Pierce to Qinshi and Baichu or Sunzu Prime, depending on which one. And then whatever you have left over, you have to use gold head to expertise. So you can at least have 2 full marches going into KVK3, right? And then you start working on other marches like, your cavalry, your second infantry, and all that stuff. Good thing that you'll have CJ expertise, and CJ is actually a usable commander for KVK3 at the very least, right? So that's good. And then start building your 5th March in Season of Conquest. That's what I would suggest. Given that CJ is locked, you can consider the following suggestion for your commander lineups. 秦始皇 YSG, Sunzu Prime Baichi. CJ Liu Che. Your third march that you should be working on should be evolving around Liu Che, right? Yeah, given that I don't recommend that you get Alexander the Great, CJ Liu Che could be a good pairing that you can use after Sunzu Prime Baichi. And then Kangam Chan and Achilles, because you already have CJ, by the way. And then Kangam Chan Achilles. And then Arthur and whoever after. What I would suggest though for this, just so that you're aware, I would say you should get Arthur, Achilles in that Achilles and Arthur in that order, and then have Arthur and Achilles work here, and then get Kangam Chan, and then use Arthur with whatever you want thereafter. I'll show you in a bit how that's gonna look like. And you can consider using William Wallace over CJ, but I do not recommend that you use any gold test into William Wallace, in my opinion. That's just what I think. Like, William Wallace is gonna die out whenever the next infantry commander release actually comes around. So I would say just don't use your gold head. Don't waste your gold heads on William Wallace is what I would suggest. Now, looking at the diagram, it's gonna look like this. KVK2, Pure CJ, Tutmos YSG, Minamoto, and Metman. It doesn't have to be Metman though. It can be Ethelflaed or whatever. And then Charles Mattel and Sun Tzu, right? Going into KVK3, Baichu, Sun Tzu Prime Baichu, Qin Shi Huang YSG, and then as you kind of like and this is just right after the swap, work on Liu Che and then use him with CJ. And then get Arthur and Achilles, and then use that as a pairing. This is still the best pairing that you're gonna find in Rise of Kingdom for cavalry. But yeah, so that's gonna be your number 1 goal for cavalry. Now, as you enter 5 March plan, as you kind of go into Season of Conquest, as you kind of gain more access to those commanders, I'll say you do this, right? You run Baichu Liu Che, Sunju Prime Baichu, Qin Shi Wang YSG, Kangam Chan, and Achilles. And as you get, I'm assuming that you're going to still be a garrison lead for Season of Conquest for your kingdom. So I'm assuming that you're going to have Gorgo and Hector somewhere. Or Gorgo and Tokugawa. When it comes to the point that you have to choose between Hector and Tokugawa for your Gorgo pairing, I would say just go ahead and get Hector because he can be used as field commander as well. Heck, he can actually be used as a field commander with Sun Tzu Prime too, and just run by Liu Che, right? Whatever the case might be, I would say Hector might be a good play, but just keep it with a grain of salt. The reason why I have gold as here is because, for one, the meta might change after like new commanders release by the time that you actually can build all those commanders. So just keep that in mind, right? Right now, the only option that you can probably have without investing in William Wallace is that you actually can run CJ Luce. That's your second pincer lineup that you can have. But if you have William Wallace, then you can obviously run William Wallace with Luce, or Baichi William Wallace, and then Sunzu Private Luce. Whatever the case might be, just be smart about it. Ask me if you need questions, right? Arthur, the same deal. If you have cavalry, and next cavalry cycle comes around, and then like the Hector is like not even something that you should be considering, then you should go ahead and get that commander, and then just mix and match with GG, Achilles, and Arthur. Those are the 3 commanders that you're gonna play around with. Just right now, this is the best that I can suggest, given that you're also a garrison lead at the end of the day. But just keep an eye out for all the new commanders. Next Archer release might very well be so OP that you might have to run Xinjiang and then sub out the YSG. So just keep an eye out for whatever is coming out. That's what those gold heads are meant for. Now armaments. Have the dispatch kept on Wedge Pincer Delta like you are right now, and open the armament chest for Pincer, as you're an infantry main for one thing, and 2, Pincer is the youngest formation among the 3 above. Wedge, Pincer, Delta. Pincer is the youngest formation that there is out there, right? And also at the same time, Wedge is most likely going to be replaced by Wedge 2.0 very, very soon, right? So I would say working on Pincer setup is probably the safest bet that you're going to have. Even if the new Pincer 2.0 does come around, I would say just use conversion stones to convert those, right? And yeah, that's just what I have. That's just what I recommend. And have the pity on all armaments for instrument as special inscriptions for instrument for Pincer and Delta, which are the 2 strongest kind of formations that there is out there, are the strongest, right? For example, Delta has Butterfly Effect. Butterfly Effect is just super broken, right? Also, Demolisher. Demolisher is the only reason why Pincer works, actually. Demolisher is the only reason why, like, cavalry can't even compare to infantry, in my opinion. Demolisher is overpowered as F. So, even if you open, let's say, sometimes, and this is a 1 in a million chance, but it might very well be your account, right? Sometimes you clear some of the like events, and then you get like the random legendary armament choice chest, right? Random legendary armament chest. If you don't have all your pity set at the instrument for all of your armaments, there is a chance that you might actually get something like Hunter from that, right? And that's not what you want, right? Just make sure that if you're running Wedge, even if you're not pulling for it, I would say just set all the wish lists at instrument, like you see for my main account. You guys can see that, like, I'm not even pulling for Pincer, and I have the pity set up on instrument, right? Delta is what I'm pulling for, so Delta obviously is right here. But just have that set up so that you avoid any future, I would say, mishaps for this account. So that's about it, guys. That's about it. Wow, that was 53 minutes of me straight up talking. My neck hurts. But hopefully this was helpful for you, Raven. It was a big pleasure to take a look at this account again. I mean, it took me like 2 hours for me to make this PowerPoint, as well as me just going over this took another hour. So hopefully this was helpful for you, man. And hopefully you guys actually enjoyed, for those of you who are watching this on YouTube. And as always, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, guys. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video, guys. Peace!